Hello and welcome to Velocity Talks. My name is Christopher Durham and I'm the president of the Velocity Institute. This is my regular opportunity to talk to all the cool people in the retailer-owned brand space. Today we're excited to welcome Lauren Porter. Lauren, it's great to have you here. Before we jump in with Lauren, I will do the standard YouTube thing and say like, subscribe, click the button below. It's absolutely free and it'll remind you when we're publishing new videos. Lauren, it's great to have you.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here, and especially after your busy week at PLMA and the great party you hosted. I appreciate you taking the time to do this while you're winding down from that.
Absolutely. And it's for those of you who don't know, we record these a little bit in the future. So it's actually Thanksgiving week. So we're getting this in before all the turkey. Tell us about you.
Sure. Thanks for asking. I am a director on the growth and innovation team at HowGood, and I live in Texas and have 3 kids. I'm married into a generational ranching family about 17 years ago here in West Texas. And until recently, we ranched in addition to our full-time jobs.
So you married into Yellowstone?
I know, not quite that dramatic.
It's like the cowboy mafia.
Yeah, and the clothes aren't as great, but the family has been ranching the same county for over 150 years. So
Wow.
a lot of heritage there and a lot that I have learned through this. And nothing really can give you a greater appreciation for the current regenerative agricultural movement than having participated in it. And by participating, lost money, lost sleep, lost blood, sweat, and tears in the commercial production of agriculture. I have bottle fed like mini doggy goats in the past. That being said, it's hard to pay the bills in ranching, and I don't think anybody would argue that. So I went back into the workforce for my second career after having kids. Very serendipitous story there, but we'll save that for another day. Long story short, because of my passion as a foodie and for the food industry, I took a role with Advantage Solutions, which is the world's largest food broker.
Yeah.
And with experience at several of their digital companies, one of which landed me in Whole Foods corporate office a couple of days a week in Austin. I was sitting among the category managers. I really began to focus on retailers and the SaaS tools that they use in their work streams. So I went to work for an exceptional startup called RangeMe and became vice president of retail there. My team's primary function was supporting retailers' sourcing initiatives and their endless hunt for new and innovative products. From there, I chose to join HowGood, where I am today, because of our dominance in food sustainability data, something that every company in our industry needs access to in this green economy.
Tell us more about HowGood. So give us the elevator speech there.
Absolutely. HowGood is the world leader in helping food companies measure and communicate their sustainability impact. Our hyper focus on agricultural supply systems provides the most granular sustainability data for the food system, over 33,000 different food ingredients and materials with over 100,000 sourcing location, production standard combinations. Take any ingredient, tomato, we have dozens of sourcing locations and production standards such as organic, and data not just for carbon, but for a wide range of climate change impact metrics such as biodiversity, deforestation, labor risk, water use, et cetera. And our sustainability software is called Lattice, and it performs product carbon footprinting, delivering insights and prioritizing carbon reduction strategies. And it enables companies to do full GHG or greenhouse gas reporting. Many companies use the platform to validate their sustainability claims as well, creating comparisons between their products and a traditional product or a representative product in the category. And again, beyond carbon, we're able to measure other climate change indicators.
So can I stop you?
Yeah.
So let me repeat back and make sure I
Yes.
understood what you just said. You have a cloud-based set of software that has
Yes.
gone out and collected data from all over the world on a lot of products that if I'm at a retailer, manufacturer, whatever, I can sit and look at the products that I'm selling and begin to gauge their sustainability such that I can use the data to create reporting to either my VP of sustainability, to Wall Street, to whoever, and begin to measure progress on our goals. Is that
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You nailed it. And it is at the formulation level of products and recipes, and is inclusive of other factors such as the volume that you're selling and transportation lags and manufacturing processes, inclusive of all of the energy inputs that go into
Mhm.
the packaging type, et cetera. So there's lots of modules and components attached to that product. Again, transportation, packaging, manufacturing process. And from there, you're able to not only report on your baseline and analyze your portfolio for risk, but develop abatement strategies to be able to reach your goals? Exactly.
So in the sourcing and product development process, can I compare 2 things? Could I
Absolutely.
say, "Oh, I can source white sugar from sugarcane in this island somewhere, or from beets from this continent somewhere," and products remarkably similar, but it's a very different way to get to market. Can your tool say, here's this one, and show me the numbers"?
Absolutely. And so
Is that
in
a good
formulation,
example?
you nailed it.
Okay.
Exactly. Example, in formulation mode, you can compare the 250 types of sweeteners that you
Mhm.
could potentially use and look at sorting by who has the lowest greenhouse gas, not only by sourcing location, but in addition, we do have specific vendor information in the platform as well. And you are able to engage your suppliers through our vendor engagement tools to collect what we call primary data, so that you have a tool to help you collect data and realize those impacts within your product and reporting and portfolio.
And so we'll stay with sugar. Some of those processes involve a lot of water, they involve a
Yes.
lot of heat, they involve a lot of mechanical processing. Are you capturing all of that stuff such that I can go, "Ooh, maple syrup does this and beet sugar does this?"
Yes, we are. We are able to provide greenhouse gas or carbon reporting
Mhm.
for ingredients, including the system boundaries, which you're starting to talk about, which is
Yeah.
cradle to farm gate and beyond.
Mhm.
So all of the different stages within the carbon life cycle, which is sometimes known as an LCA, we are able to do that on every single one of our ingredients
Um,
and provide as much insight as the user is able to obtain.
Probably
So,
more than I really want.
and depending on the user type, if it's a sustainability expert at a retailer, they're obviously
Mhm.
going to prioritize some of those versus, say, a category manager. If they're obtaining insights from the platform, it is going to be more in what standards do I use to develop my new item evaluation, right? Like, what do I prioritize in my category when I'm looking for new items, and how do I reach my goals? So it really is according to the user, the level of detail that they want to take from the platform.
That makes sense. Let's see. So let's talk about your year ahead. Do you have exciting things that are gonna happen here?
Absolutely. And not just at HowGood, but in the industry at large, because of mounting regulatory. And when I say the industry, I'll say carbon accounting or sustainability within the food industry. Because of mounting regulatory pressure, I think that will drive prioritization of carbon footprinting and reporting among large scale food companies like retailers here in your audience. As we get closer to many of these companies' carbon reduction commitment deadlines, there's going to be a rush for prioritizing abatement strategies. And so by abatement being, how do I reach these goals that I've set through actually improving my products and my supply chain? Plus, increased scrutiny of greenwashing. I think that'll force companies to rely on the best, most standardized data and methodology before making any kind of green claim. Specific to HowGood, we have some incredible partnerships launching that will further cement us as the industry leader. In addition, our first to market flag accounting module will help our partners be ahead of the curve in setting and executing science based targets, inclusive of flag, which is a new component of science based target, which is forest, land, and agricultural sectors, which is our audience, the
Okay,
food,
sure, absolutely.
That's our food audience. Also, something we see growth in is private brand teams asking us to help them engage their suppliers. So, what we talked about earlier, being able to have a system that collects data from the supplier to create those improved climate scenarios within their products. So, we have that system of tools to empower that conversation between the private label brand and its suppliers.
And so if I'm working at a retailer and I have a dashboard, I assume that has whatever our metrics are and we can measure that. What does the manufacturer see? How much are they seeing everything I'm seeing, or are they seeing their against their standards, or how
Yeah,
does that
great
work?
question. We have several models for the way a
Mhm.
manufacturer can work with us as it relates to the retailer. One, if the retailer is asking them to input their data, but the manufacturer doesn't want to share their sourcing location, they don't want to share their manufacturing type, et cetera, they have the option to just share the high level impact as it relates to carbon or water, the metrics that matter to the retailer, and not
Mhm.
share the details within that and that way the retailer can realize that the actual vendor info in their product build. On the flip side, a manufacturer can also work with us directly and share their whole portfolio of items to be discoverable by retailers and our other partners in our material directory so that they can use us as a sales channel to showcase their improved impact as it relates to the category.
And so I'll start with, I don't believe anybody can keep this stuff a secret anymore. There's
Yeah.
still some that are trying. I don't believe
Transparency.
it's gonna
I
last
know.
much longer. I really
Yeah.
don't. I know we talked about it at the sustainability summit in
Yes.
Austin a couple of months ago. My girls just expect to be able to pick up their iPhone, take a picture of the back, and know where every egg and sugar and came from,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
and they're distrustful if they can't.
And building trust with consumers has always been prioritized by private brands, like in
Mhm.
pricing and quality and
Mhm.
nutrition, et cetera. But now you're exactly right. More and more consumers are choosing based on that sustainability impact and the transparency of that. And the retailer needs dependable, credible
Yeah.
partners to help translate and communicate that impact.
So then are the manufacturers able to look at this and see where they have opportunities to improve before a retailer asks them?
Yes, absolutely. And again, we have several different ways in which
Yeah.
manufacturers can work with us, but just like a retailer, a manufacturer can use us to see their largest opportunities for carbon savings, so to speak, and what they can do within their products, such as changing sourcing location, changing sourcing standards, et cetera.
That makes sense. As we look at the future, I always like to ask this kind of bigger question, 5 years, 10 years, that crystal ball thing. What does the future look like really for private brand and sustainability and how good? And what's the picture?
Oh, it's exciting. We are at the precipice here of a huge movement, we believe, because again, retailers are hit particularly hard by regulation for reducing their scope 3 emissions, such as the newly enacted California Climate Corporate Data Accountability Act. That's a mouthful. But private label will be a retailer's primary tool for carbon reduction through product innovation, right? It is harder for a retailer to control their suppliers than it is their own business and their own formulations and their own products. And so we really see private label as being the first place that a retailer looks to reduce their carbon footprint and reach their goals. Not only is it to reach their carbon reduction goals, but it really just drives sales velocity and margin. There's a Nielsen study that says half of global consumers are actively seeking more information about their purchased goods sustainability. And I think it's like 88% of shoppers would like companies to help them be more environmentally friendly and ethical. And there's an Acosta study that says 65% of shoppers would like retailers to invest more in sustainability. So it definitely, we used to say it's the future, but it's here now and it's happening. And we see our retail partners actively engaging with us and being successful in it. And a great example of that is our partner in Giant Eagle, who their private label team is using us for our HowGood rating system on shelf tag. And we have a case study coming out soon for them. But among our other retailers, we really see incredible sales lift when our rating system is used and applied there on the shelf tag to build trust with consumers and communicate the improved impact of those private label products as compared to the other products on the shelf.
I think it's interesting. And we're obviously committed to all this. This is why we do the sustainability
Yes.
summit every year. And the conversation has definitely shifted. Although there's always that murmur of, do customers care? They're always, and I don't know that that ever will go away. They're now in this place where it's just the right thing to do, not only for the planet, but for their business.
Yes,
So they're moving forward. Now, they're
absolutely.
all in a different place. They're all moving at a
That's
different pace, but
That's right.
they're definitely moving. So that's a
Yes.
good thing. So we always end this up with the same 5 questions. They're fun. Question number 1, what's your favorite word?
I will say regenerative. I'm really loving the movement from sustainable to regenerative, like,
Mhm.
i.e., instead of doing less bad, let's do more good. And to quote Sustainable Brands, regenerative design seeks not to lessen the harm of development, but rather to put design and development to work as a positive force to repair nature and human systems. So I love regenerative.
Oh, I love that. You know that. I think somebody quoted me from the summit because although I absolutely believe in recycling, I will say it a
Yeah,
100 times. We cannot recycle our way to a solution. It's
that's
just
right.
not going to happen.
That's right.
However, if we reduce, if we regenerate, if we
Yep.
do those other things and some of it doesn't have to be recycled or doesn't exist, honestly, it's a lot easier to get there.
Yes, it is.
Question number 2, are you a more artistic or more mathematic person?
Math, for sure. Being creative gives me anxiety. Math is, in my opinion, as beautiful as art, so
Mhm.
powerful, but I'm also a very pragmatic, logical thinker, so that's very mathematical, not artistic. I also think, though, that it comes from, in part, my family conversations at the dinner table as a kid were very focused on finance and business and entrepreneurship and less on, like, artistic endeavors, so I think for many reasons, I would say math.
Yes, the ours were always politics and Broadway. So
Mhm.
thanks for an exciting dinner
Yeah.
conversation. Question number 3, if you could share a meal with anyone, past or present, living or dead, who would it be and why?
This is tough. Hypothetical, again,
Mhm.
requires creativity and
Yep.
reference the previous answer, but I not overthinking it, I would split the meal, I think, between 2 people. One being Thomas Friedman, the American political commentator and journalist.
Sure.
And I know, like any journalist, he has his critics, but he wrote one of the most influential books in my life, which was in 2008, Hot, Flat, and Crowded. And that book really opened my eyes to the world of sustainability. And it ultimately led to me obtaining my LEED accreditation through the US Green Building Council. At the time in my previous career of construction management, it was leadership in energy and environmental design.
Mhm.
And a lot of those principles, although at the time I was applying it in construction, still inform and are foundational in the work I do today at HowGood. A lot of those concepts. So, really important book to me. So, I would talk to him. And I think the second person would be Alexander Gillette, our co CEO. He and his brother Arthur, 17 years ago, founded and still today run HowGood. But he has sat at tables with world leaders and kings and sustainability groundbreakers. He's going to
Mhm.
COP28 next week. And more importantly, he spent a lot of time with my favorite people, my coworkers, and he's just thoughtful and inspiring and trustworthy and all around a great guy to spend a meal with.
We can figure out a way to make that one happen.
I know I've got to do it. He's a busy guy, but I would love to sit down and have a meal with him soon.
That would be good. Oh, number 4, what profession other than your own would you have liked to have attempted?
I have to say, a grocery category manager after
Oh,
my,
you're a glutton for punishment, aren't you?
I know, I guess so. But I just have such immense respect for this role because they are true entrepreneurs in the sense that they wear so many hats. They have to own their business. As a group, they really define the success and personality of a store. And they have to be thoughtful planners and brand coaches and analysts and many more things. And at the end of the day, their profitability and growth is on their shoulders of their category. And I have to say, I assume you're going to ask me which category it would be. I think I would pick the ethnic aisle, because what a fun adventure to be able to serve a community with international flavors. And I just love that category. That being said, I have to tell you a funny story. I live in the hometown of HEB, literally where the first HEB store was. And so I'm a passionate HEB fan, but
As we all are. Yeah.
I know. But I almost wrote an email to the category manager at HEB of personal care last week, because I felt like they had a gap in their refillable hand soap category. I had to stop myself.
It's okay. You could send it to them. They wouldn't care.
I know, but
You might be right. Who knows?
I love them dearly, but I really like felt for them, that I felt like they had a hole there, and I wanted to talk to them about it, but they're the best.
It's the challenge of grocery and category management in that it's done 6 feet, 8 feet at a time,
Yes.
and it's so focused on that category that
Yeah.
often it's a little myopic, right?
Yeah.
And that's not real. People don't really shop by category. They shop by occasion, they shop by need,
Yeah.
they shop by, so you might see something that because they're so deep in it, they don't see.
That's right. That's right. So maybe if I run into that person sometime, I'll let them know.
Maybe you'll see them at the HEB. They're around there
I
somewhere, right?
know it.
If you could speak to yourself when you begin your career, what advice would you give yourself?
I have 3 kids, so in theory, whatever I say here is what I should be telling them too. I know. My gut here is to say specialize. Pick something that you can go deep in and become a subject matter expert in, because regardless of the industry, you'll be rewarded for that specialized expertise. But I that's not what I've done in my career. I've taken like a meandering route to get here, and I do think it has given me like really great perspective and grit and grounded in reality that I have not, that I've had been in multiple industries and not been specialized. I don't know if it's good advice or not. What do you think?
I could argue my career is both meandering and specific, but it's also you and I both basically live in jobs that did not exist 20, 30 years ago.
That's right.
So how could you have specialized to get here?
That's right. That's right.
I think it's specialize as much as you can, be smart, be a thoughtful person, build networks. There's a lot of those things that will always work. So
Yes, you're right.
very good. We always like to close up giving a little plug for the things we're doing. So, of course, the Vertex Awards is open right now. We are the only global private brand package design competition. We're on our 11th year. So we've given out about 1,000 trophies to 70 plus countries and a little more than that retailers over the last 10 years. And the competition ends January 31st. So please go enter. We have all kinds of great stuff, and you can measure yourself against the best in the world. Lauren, thanks for joining us. It's been great to chat.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity and the work that you're doing. It's important.